Please join me in welcoming founder and CEO, my pal, Greg Malpass.
Hey there, Joe. Thank you. Gosh, you guys, it is just a total honor to be here. And so thank you so much for each of you to make the time out in this event. We work so hard all year. This is an opportunity for Traction to kind of showcase a little bit of what we've done. But this is actually really an opportunity for us to share just the incredible innovation that we're allowed to ride along with some of the most incredible brands. So this place is amazing. Vancouver, British Columbia. I've gone to a lot of talks lately, and we've been talking about BC Tech and the technology industry that's thriving in this community. But what's really amazing is over the last 6 years, I actually just went from being an employee, really, or a solo contractor to become a CEO of a technology company. And I didn't do it alone. I did it thanks to a lot of the people that are actually hidden away in this room. Entrepreneurs, leaders, government, members of the Entrepreneurs Organization, Young Presidents Organization, McKay CEO Forums, so many incredible structures in place to pull people just like me and help us learn how to be leaders. But beyond that, there's even further. We see the BC government really changing their tone around the role of technology and how it's going to be such an instrumental part in the future of our province. And beyond that, they see this as, you talk to the educational facilities and SFU, BCIT, UBC, really trying to find a way to adapt their structures so we can produce more people that understand technology. But is this all about IT? Is it about IT or is it about technology? And how are those things different? Well, today we're going to talk a lot about that. The other thing is, this event is not about shameless plugs for Traction. I certainly hope you guys aren't getting any sense of that. The interesting thing is our business has changed so dramatically over the course of the last 6 years, going from 1 person to 220. It's just, we've had so many, let's call it stalls and rethinks of the business. And a lot of it's come down to really understanding what measurements are. And what are the measurements of a business, and how can measurements be applied to really drive a constructive change in a business? A constructive change almost in philosophy. And Traction measures itself in 3 ways. First thing, most important thing, is an enjoyable place to work. And what that means is we want to ensure that we create a business that is a product of what our team wants. There's Traction Pulse, which is actually an internal project we just released that allows us to actually understand whether or not our people are engaged and happy doing the work that they're doing. It's giving us real-time information to figure out what they love and perhaps what they don't love. And we're asking the hard questions. Now, the danger of asking a hard question is you have to have the hard conversation as well, which is something we're learning very iteratively with the team and how to do. The next thing is ecstatic. And how do we keep our customers happy? And what is our role? As a professional services company, the traditional paradigm was you wanted to hook in and stay with them forever. Well, the truth is there's no way we could ever serve all these customers forever. We need to build ourselves in every one of these companies. So when you look at the likes of Patagonia through to TELUS, Direct Energy, all these organizations are actually modeling a lot of what Traction does inside their businesses, and we're helping them hire those people, build those competencies, and build that flexibility and freedom within themselves. And that's the only way forward. And fortunately, 68% of the customers that chose to work with us this year had worked with us previously. So we're seeing, of course, a lot of follow-on, but lots of net new people joining us as well. The last thing is efficiency. And these are all things that we're looking to technology to do. So we've grown, again, from 0, or 1 person, I guess you could say, to 218 people today. And what's amazing about that scale is we've done it without investment. We've done it without any seed. We've done it without any debt. And we've done it while maintaining the fundamentals of the business. So how do you scale that much, that quickly, without help, without a crutch? And the truth is, it has been technology. It's been the lessons that we've learned from some of our highly innovative customers and seen how they got through growth that we've actually since had the opportunity and privilege to apply to ourselves. And so we're talking about technology. Here's a NASCAR slide. So what's common about the companies that you see on this slide? They're all companies that we've worked with and had the privilege of driving some, what we feel to be some pretty incredible innovation and disruption. Are they all technology companies? Is there any industry? Is there any set of size considerations around these companies? No. These are all companies that are innovating. They're reinventing themselves. They're going through multiple generations super quick, trying to adapt to what their customers want, and they're using data to do it. And that is actually the marker of companies that we'll see thrive and ride, and also it'll be the marker for the companies that we see have to acquire other organizations and try to adopt innovation into old structures. So every company is becoming a technology company. So what role does technology play? Why does this even matter? Well, the truth is, if you sit down with a series of CEOs today, we're all a little bit scared. We're scared of disruption. Things are changing so quickly. We used to know. We used to be able to look in the rearview mirror and see the competitors that were coming at us. We used to be able to adapt. We used to see customer fundamental shifts in tides and change in industry, in psychographics and demographics, and be able to maneuver. But things are happening so quickly, right? And the examples, we'll talk about the examples, the ones that we've all heard multiple times, but it's scary because you don't know what's going to get you. So what role does technology play? Well, technology, we'll talk about this as we go through things, it gives us one thing. It gives us the ability to look forward, and that's, I think, the key. Technology should give us the ability for us to focus forward and embrace this general innovation and continue to pivot and iterate on our businesses. Okay, what about bricks and mortar? This is just funny. So this year, we were lucky enough to meet a great company. It was a company called Big Kite. There were about 15 people in Toronto. We met throughout a series of competitive situations, actually, over the years. And Big Kite chose to join Traction and become essentially our Toronto operation, which is a great group, great entrepreneurs, great business. And they actually had worked with a company by the name of Brampton Brick. How is Brampton Brick a technology company? This is a brick manufacturing and distribution company. Well, the truth is, Brampton Brick was in a situation where their customers, the sales, are you kidding me? That fast? Holy crap. These guys are like eating my time. Okay, so these guys basically, they're a paper-based, they did a whole bunch of stuff. And then we had to, this gun's coming fast. All right, faster. So, seriously, I'm sick of technology. I'm sick of hearing all this crap. This is brutal. Why are you bringing all this up? Well, the truth is, you have no choice. Humans think linearly. Technology operates logarithmically. Difference between linear, logarithmic, lion, tiger, person. No predictability. You get eaten. You're disrupted. Next. So what's the point? In rear view mirrors, right? So Tesla launched this new car. The Tesla Model S. Tesla Model X is coming out. It's a little slower than they planned to. But guess what? They didn't even bother putting rear view mirrors on that car until the Federal Association of Safety and blah, blah, blah said you need. Why do you need rear view mirrors if you have a car that can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds? Why? So as a CEO, why are we looking backwards? Why? Let's talk incumbents. The incumbent versus the disruptor. Sorry about the slide. Marriott, hotels. So the Marriott just announced the most innovative thing they've done. Airbnb's taken $1 billion in hotel rooms away. So what are these guys doing? They're gonna list their rooms on Airbnb. Genius. Is that a forward-looking strategy or is that a backward-looking strategy? Answer, backwards. These guys are trying to fit their business into the disruptor. What is the Marriott? What do they have that's different? They've lost track of it. They have a moment in time where they have a community, and there's data there, and they're not using it, and they're going to fail. They're going to be eaten. Next, disruptors being disrupted. What about Apple? Apple, so innovative. No, Apple, sales, downloaded content. 2015, they saw a 12% decrease in downloads. They're riding that. Who disrupted them? Well, obviously, it was Spotify. It was streaming. Oh, one step ahead. Sorry, so much pressure. Was this, Mary Jo, how much time? I do have to get Ken on soon. Okay. So the whole idea behind Spotify, so what's Apple doing right now? Apple just announced Apple Music, and they're going to have 100 million paid subscribers versus Spotify's 30 million. So they're going to kick their asses, right? Is that kicking their ass? They're just going to get more. And guess how they're going to beat them? They're going to give you content 2 days earlier. How's that even relevant? What's Spotify doing? They're building strong integrations with third-party music service providers. They're going hardcore social. Music curation is being fully liberated. I don't know. Is Spotify looking backwards? Nope. Is Apple going to disrupt them? Well, they may have to buy them for a ton of money. So what about automobiles? So Toyota, Ford, GM, Volkswagen. Volkswagen just announced a brand new program on their EV program. They're going to come up with some better batteries. How's that going to do against Tesla? What is Tesla? Is Tesla a car manufacturer? Oh, are they a fuel distribution company? Are they a manufacturing disruptor using a single robot to produce all their vehicles? Are they an app company? Are they an IP company? Or are they a battery manufacturer in broad? How do you even compete against that? Is building a better battery than Tesla the way Volkswagen's going to win? Probably not. And then let's talk about the thing we love and hate, cabs, and the fact that we don't have Uber or any sort of advanced ride-sharing program in Vancouver. You know why we're all a little angry about this? Because the taxi companies should have figured it out. They really should have, and it's disappointing. And so here's the fact, here's the slow and imminent death of rental companies and taxi cabs. I think this one's actually almost done. And so what's Vancouver Taxi doing today? I was on a panel with one of the guys from Uber, legal battle, lobbying, government insurance, restricting licenses, all protectionism, all backwards looking. That's what the cab companies are doing. And you know, if you look at the offensive strategy, well, this would have been the appropriate offensive strategy maybe 6 or 9 months ago. But what is their offensive strategy today? I don't know. Interesting. Wouldn't it be cool if I ordered something and it came to my house within 5 minutes? Maybe there's another model out there for these guys. Maybe there's a pivot. Maybe they can disrupt something else. But they're probably not thinking like that. Maybe they will. Maybe someone's here. So when I was doing my BBA, there's this whole notion of the barriers to entry. My single point on this, and I'll share my slides, is none of these are relevant anymore. You can actually beat every traditional paradigm of competitive strategy can be blown out through technology and through quick access to a global market. And Salesforce world is crazy growing. There's lots of jobs, 12,000 in Canada that are going to be created between now and 2018. That's how many jobs Salesforce is forecasting to be created just to support the licenses that they're selling. So why do we exist? Well, the truth is, if you're leading a business, if you're operating a business, this is what strategy looks like. How should strategy look? It should look like this. Strategy should be a whole sequence of changes. Small, staccato, instantaneous, reviews. Do we succeed, fail? How do we learn? How do we improve? What do you need to do that, guys? Data. You need data, and you need a discipline, and you also need to drive innovation. I'm skipping this. So what does technology give us? It gives us speed. It just makes things faster. What's the brutal thing about speed? What happens if you're speeding and you crash? You crash worse, right? So if speed is simply a tool, what's the number one thing I can do to leverage this newfound asset is we need to innovate. And this is the thing that we're here to talk about. And we're going to talk really fast about the fact that you got to define your sandbox. You got to ask the hard questions about measurement. Don't worry, these slides are totally readable. There's great notes behind them. You're not missing anything. You got to liberate your smartest people. So you have someone in your business with the title innovation, get rid of it, because you're telling everyone else that they don't need to innovate. Innovation has to come from everywhere and everyone. You need to educate your company on the notion of experiments. You need to embody and celebrate the application and the risk that has to be taken in order for your business to innovate and continue to thrive and always go forward. And the last thing is we need to celebrate positive and negative outcomes, because the consequences are lower if we can operate our businesses in a staccato pace. And that's what this is all about. Technology, speed, innovation. So now I'm going to introduce Ken Sim. So Ken, come on out here. Ken Sim. Ken is the founder and owner of Nurse Next Door. Is that right? Good way to put it? And also Rosemary Rock Salt. So when we were kind of hosting this event, I was thinking, God, who do I know that is the most disruptive? Like, who's actually launching a business that is just turning a category upside down that got caught, right? That had the opportunity to innovate, and they haven't.
Is that the bagel industry, or?
I'm thinking Nurse Next Door was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that was, although the bagel one actually is pretty interesting too. We can talk about that too.
Sure.
So Ken, I think what would be great for us to chat about a little bit as a disruptor, why did you decide to enter the nursing market? That seems like such a a far-fetched thing to do. Seems crazy.
It's funny, I guess. We entered the industry based on personal experience, but I wanted to tell you a little bit. We talked about this earlier, and the signs were out there. The day I quit my job in investment banking, I read this book called Boom, Bust, and Echo, and it was about like demographics and how demographics were going to shape the world. And it had a 3-page section on home health care. And long story short, my wife came home one day on emergency. She told me that she was put on emergency bed rest. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but it means, baby can fall out, so not a good thing. And so I was trying to start a business, and we tried to hire some home care help, had some really bad experiences, and, figured, we could launch a business and kill it, so.
So you had a terrible experience
Yep.
in working with an existing kind of structure.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, that was terrible. We can do a better job than this. And you clearly you were in the nursing industry. You had some other, background and history. Maybe they could have seen you coming.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because people today, they say, wow, home care, I didn't even know about that industry existed. Wow, you guys are really smart. Home care has been around for over 100 years in Canada. Like the Victoria Order of Nurses actually started home care in this country at the turn of the century. And we'd come across, when we started, we'd come across these large companies that would service the government industry and what have you, and they all sucked. And they used to laugh at us when we started up our business. They would literally laugh at us.
And so they would laugh at you.
Yep.
But why? What thing is it that they think they had that would make you an irrelevant competitor?
Well, first, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, so that was. The second thing is, we wanted to have a lot of fun with our brand, and so we did everything differently. I guess we innovated on the branding side. So if you look at healthcare 15 years ago, it was this dodgy, very conservative place where you couldn't have any fun. It was basically death care, and if you had any fun with it whatsoever, you guys were idiots. And we showed up with our pink cards with hearts and flowers on them, and it was really bizarre at the time, but we stayed with it. Now people love the pink cards and with hearts and flowers.
And so, just so everyone has context with Nurse Next Door, it is a franchise model, right?
Yeah.
So each nurse, would they own a territory, or is each nurse a sole proprietor? How does that work?
You know what? The funny thing is, it's not always nurses.
Okay.
We thought we would hire nurses. We love nurses, but nurses are great at nursing. They're not necessarily. Some of them are great, but a lot of them aren't the greatest sort of business owners and operators, and I think that's important to make that distinction because, when we talk about technology, same thing applies. You can be great at technology, but if you don't understand the business case for the technology, you're going to kill yourself. But yeah, like to answer your question, we have, 140 locations now across North America. They're business owners, real corporations. Some of them are nurses, most of them aren't.
And so 140 instances of Nurse Next Door in North America.
Yep.
How many nurse or caretakers would there be within that? And
I don't know. It's a metric we don't track anymore,
Yeah.
but I would guess maybe 8,000 to 10,000.
8,000 to 10,000, let's say.
Yeah, and like this year, in the next 12 months, we'll add another 50 to 70 locations, another 100 the year after. So we've just sort of hit our inflection point.
And so so you started small. There's obviously, and how many years from the start to today? The first car hitting the ground till today?
We started October 2001, just right after 9/11, and I don't know, it's 2016, so 15 years.
And then, so it took 15 to get the first, let's call it 8,000 to 10,000.
Yeah.
What are you forecasting for the next 5 years?
Well, it depends if, I talk to our CEO or not. She'll give me a little bit of resistance, but I do think that in the next 4 years, we'll be at 400 to 500 locations. And if we hit on some of the stretch goals, we could be at 1,000 locations in the next 4 years. So
in less than a third of the time, you'll grow 4 to 5 times faster.
Yeah.
And so I guess the biggest thing is role. So this is about the application of technology, scale, disrupting. What role is technology playing, and how do you, as a leader and a founder of a business that could have that prolific of scale, what's your view on technology?
Well, I think technology is an accelerator of whatever you're doing. And so if you have the wrong workflow, if you're looking in the wrong direction, or if you're making mistakes, the only thing technology will do, it will help you make more mistakes faster and it'll put you out of business. If you have the right workflow or you're going in the right direction, it will accelerate it.
And so as you're iterating and changing, I talked a little bit about this shortened planning cycle. Is there any context or anything you could throw at the crowd here to kind of, in terms of where they could start? Like, how should they start looking at this process of planning and technology and process? Any kind of wise words that you would have? Where do you even start?
Well, that's a pretty deep question. 1 minute? Awesome.
Damn it.
Good.
Just when I was about to fill
You know, I just get started. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I would talk to, people that really know what they're doing to, bounce ideas off them, but just get started.
Yep. And then this notion of experiments and everything else we talk about, would you say your business was an experiment?
Oh, absolutely. Like, on the outside, people see Nurse Next Door and they go, wow, it's great, it's really shiny, you guys have knocked the cover off the ball. For every one thing that's worked well, we've probably made about 10 mistakes. I'm surprised we're still around, but...
I'm not surprised at all, Ken. Cool. Hey, thank you so much. I know, guys, we're quick. We're essentially staccato presentations today. Ken, thank you so much, bud. I really appreciate you coming out.
Sure. Thanks.
And Ken will be up for the Q&A a little later, so we'll have an opportunity to talk to him. So I sure so hope I did a good job, at least kind of setting the stage for what you guys are about to enjoy over the course of the day. Again, I just want to express my sincere and heartfelt thanks for everyone for coming out here. There's people from Traction, there's customers, the people, of course, from our partner community. I'm so grateful that you've afforded us this opportunity and given us the time from your precious days. Your precious days. Your precious days. Your precious